Oh, hey, what's up? How's everybody doing? I need to fix my camera. So, straighter, better, closer. All right. Okay. Welcome into your TBC Weekly. Jeff will not be joining us tonight. We're waiting on Shawn. He should be here momentarily. But until then, I have a good friend of mine I would like to share with you. This could be a problem. Share the sound, please. All right, let's go. Let's freaking go, man.
Hi, my name is Tyvis Powell,
Oh, that's loud.
former Ohio State Buckeye and national champion DB. Welcome to the Buckeye Cast. These guys was born and bred in the Buckeye State, and they like to talk Buckeye football and drink bourbon. Subscribe to the show. Now pour up a drink and pull up a stool. Here's your host, Joe Warwick. Get him, Joe.
All right, Tyvis, thank you. Appreciate you stopping by, as always. So this is your TBC Weekly for April 14th, 2024. Going live, talking about some spring game reactions. Let's see if we have an answer for the starting QB position. I don't know. We'll see. So, as we wait for Shawn to join us, I'm going to ask you to visit thebuckeyecast.com, check out the video vault, check out all the gear, hats, shirts, all kinds of stuff. We have a ton of stuff for summertime as you're getting ready for beach season. I know you are. But check out the video vault because you can get all of your Buckeye legends highlights in there. Eddie George, Archie Griffin, anybody you can think of. Got your 2025 recruiting highlights, all of the huddle videos, and there's no ads, no commercials, nothing. There's condensed games. We've got seasons and seasons worth of condensed games, like 40 minutes, all the commercials and the slow plays cut out. So I appreciate everybody joining me. We'll get to your questions and comments tonight, I promise.
They're joining me too.
All right, there he is. 2/3 of the TBC Weekly crew is here. So, hey, like an amazing singer once sang, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, Shawn.
You're hitting your bets at a 2/3 tip. You're making money. All I know.
Right? Ma, the meatloaf. Anyway, so appreciate everybody popping in. And like I said, we'll get to your questions and comments. We're going to talk about the spring game. Shawn, let's start on some quick takeaways. We can start with the quarterback position, or we can circle back to it. How would you like to roll this out?
Yeah, let's start with it.
Okay, let's do it. All right, so looking at their stats, these are unofficial stats, by the way, because all the media was there. Why would they keep official stats? That would be inconvenient, I'm sure. Anyway, so you got Will Howard. Will Howard went 8 of 12 for 61 yards. Devin Brown, 6 of 8 for 84 and a touchdown. Then you got Julian Sand, 9 of 15 for 74 and a pick. Lincoln Keyholes, 10 of 16 for 72 and 2 picks. Aaron Nolan only played in the second half and was 6 of 8 for 51 and a pick. So I think the interceptions are probably a good clue that the younger guys maybe aren't quite ready. What do you think?
Saw a couple of them. I'll confess I didn't see all the interceptions, but just starting at with the guys that aren't going to play. The Julian Sane one, that was, it was a deep out and it was late with it. It's a pro throw. And
Yeah.
he just, he's got to learn that. I think the arm talent's there, but the timing was off and you can't be doing that. Especially,
Right.
I think that was during the 2-minute drill. or something like that. And
Mhm.
that's what you can't do. You got to get down there and get points, whether, even a win there is getting you into, field goal range. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
hey, went down there before the half and, going to get points on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What do you think of Devin Brown's drive? He had the best drive of the day by any quarterback. Would he go? What was it? 50 yards, I think. Yeah, he went. He had a nice 25-yard throw over two defenders to David Adolph. Again, he's throwing to freaking walk-ons here, so bear with him. Then he had the 11-yard touchdown pass to Brennan Schramm. Schramm.
Another walk
And
on.
exactly. And I think there was a 10-yard scamper he had on his feet there in that drive to pick up a first down and keep the chains moving. So you got to admit, I mean, Devin really had the only meaningful scoring drive.
Going into it when we brought in Howard, I think we all say that, okay, Howard, you're in pole position. You got to go win the job still, but you're starting in the front spot to get the job. And from what I seen, he did nothing to um, extend that or anything. If anything, I think he lost ground. Not because he did poorly, but I don't know. He didn't take he didn't go and take the job. And so, from what I could see, and that to me, um, it looks like Devin Brown's really hungry and wants that job. To
Yeah.
me, and I think he does. But I think Devin Brown still has his limitations. So I don't know if it was getting caught up in the moment a little bit. Devin Brown's been there. I think maybe Will Howard was a little more intimidated by the whole scene.
Yeah. I think all these guys, especially except for Will Howard, I would say all of them had like minimal time to work back there. With the O lines, they were handed. Will Howard started with the ones, and did you notice this? This was an important um, factor, in my opinion, that just a couple weeks ago when they had the student appreciation scrimmage, they let all the media in.
Hmm.
Devin Brown was taking the ones. He was taking the first reps of every 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 team stuff. Now in the spring game, Will Howard took the first reps. The first drive right out of the box was Will Howard. So that's something to note, I believe, as we're trying to parse these things out and read between the lines, and the coaches aren't telling us anything meaningful. So I think you can only go by what you see, right?
Well, if you're going to read anything into it, to me, it means it's neck and neck right now. Which I thought we all thought Howard was going to be the guy kind of coming in. That was kind of the
Mm.
train of thought out there in Buckeye land, not necessarily mine or this show's, but um, I think now it's a legitimate contest between Brown and Howard.
I think there's some meaning to who takes that first
And if
series.
that's the way the O line plays, then I feel sorry for whoever gets the job because the O line play is still. I mean, we're going to bring in
Yeah.
all this talent and have a fucking mediocre O line.
Yeah, they're still trying to work through that right guard position. They had three guys cycle through there yesterday. Uh, Still no answers though. Um, we'll see how that plays out, but still, you got to remember they're going against one of the best D lines in the country. You know, so if whoever wins a rep or wins a snap, you're looking at the other one like, where did you fuck up? You know, if the O
When to
line wins
win
a rep,
to win natties, you go against a couple of the best D lines in the country.
well, yeah,
So
I'm saying you can point the finger either direction if depending on who loses, right? Every snap. And right now, and this is the same case last spring. This spring actually is a little bit better for the O-line. They're not getting their ass kicked on every single rep. Last year they were, so they have improved, however minute it might be, but they have improved. They still have areas they need to clean up for sure. And again, yeah, you're going against Jack and JT and stuff. So I'm not going to argue that there has to be probably some moves in the portal to see if maybe not, there might not be a starting right tackle or a right guard in there, but at least some depth pieces,
I mean, again, the way Howard and Brown played, which was solid, not great, I don't feel. But it doesn't need to be. But the O-line play needs to be. If we're gonna do this run that they spend all
Yeah.
this money on and guys came back for.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. O-line's got to improve. But what'd you think about the running backs? Let's talk about them. You got Shawn looks so quick and fast. Oh my God, he's got fast feet. Who else? We got Trey. Trey didn't have a lot of action. Let me back up here and see what our yardages were. I got the freshman looked good. TC Caffey looked all right. Shawn had 4 carries for 31. Sam Williams-Dixon, SWD as he's known on this show, 10 carries for 71 and a TD. It's a nice little average. And James Peoples, 10 carries for 3.9 and a TD. What'd you think about the running game?
I like it. I like it a lot. And I think and I like the room, even with down Hayden Bolton. I think those young guys, that we got basically 2 starters is nice.
Yeah.
That could start basically and anywhere in the country, 2 guys.
And have, yeah.
And then we got some young guys. So, whichever one of those young guys kind of takes the lead going into this season, it's going to be nice to see who gets carries and blowouts and things like that, and start getting, because like you said before, Trey's going to miss a couple games, and probably Quinshawn too. I think that's almost the way they like to do it to keep them fresh. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I've got 2 guys. No, I know you could play next week, but you're not gonna. Just fucking take it
Right.
easy.
Kind of that load management, that we hear about in other sports. I mean, this is going to be a 16-game season, give or take. So you're going to need, like Ryan Day said, he said it multiple times now. The old saying is you need a pair and a spare. Well, you actually need 3, So at every position, not just running back, quarterback, or receiver, whatever, but you need that pair and a spare, and they all have to be able to play. This can't be the spare can't be a spare tire.
Right.
So, and TC Caffey had a touchdown run in the 4th quarter. Can we get this guy a fucking scholarship? Maybe, I don't know. That would be nice. I do wonder what's going to happen in the portal if they actually are going to bring in the kid from UMass. He's out of Warren, Ohio. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know. It sounds like there was initial contact, and that's maybe when this crystal ball came in. This was like fucking 3 weeks ago, over 3 weeks ago. No, 2 weeks ago, my bad. 3/29 March. So Kayron Lynch-Adams from UMass, he initially committed to Rutgers coming out of high school, 5'10", 198. So he did run for 1,200 yards at UMass last year. So from what I've heard most recently, there hasn't been much contact with Ohio State and him. So that might be dead in the water. I don't know if anything's happening there.
Well, no, and Ohio State's pretty confident in their room, even with losing. I thought maybe they thought okay, Hayden's going out. We don't know what these two young kids are about yet, really,
Right.
and you got a chance to see them do pretty well.
Right.
And
That's why I
I'm
say,
sure that's what put their minds at ease a little bit, and maybe we backed off at that point.
right. And then TC Caffey, because they want to have 5 scholarship running backs in the room. Is TC Caffey scholarship worthy, So to hit that 5 number. Otherwise, yeah, if you're not going to give Caffey a scholarship, then you got to bring in somebody out of the portal for depth, if nothing else, And getting a kid from Ohio is always a good idea, I think, because he knows he only has 1 year of eligibility, but he can get some exposure, nationally and on TV and shit. Receivers.
Yeah, but if he's, I
Uh,
mean,
Go
if you're
ahead.
that guy, I mean, he was recruited to New Hampshire and played there. There's no way that he's nearly as talented raw as the young guys on our team. Even TC, like you said, the walk on probably was ranked probably similarly to a guy that went to New Hampshire. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but um,
He went to Rutgers and UMass. K-Ron, dude.
so he's probably at
Yeah.
best a 3-star, probably a
Yeah.
2.
Yeah. Yeah. He was a 3 coming out.
And but our guys are a lot higher than that, and which to me that means unless again this guy's a few years in, he's a grown man now, but um, he probably doesn't have their speed or their quickness or their something. He
Yeah.
probably looks at it and he's like, well, I could go to Ohio State, but I'm going to be fourth or fifth on the chart. I'm not getting in.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. There will be moves made this week in and out of the portal that maybe we aren't expecting to. Receivers, you got Emeka, 4 catches, 47. They really tried hard to get the ball to Parnell Tate and Jeremiah. Uh, Jeremiah had 2 catches for 13 yards, 1 carry for 4 yards. Really was a non-factor, but we got to see him out there. He's a monster. You see him matched up against those corners.
He
He is a
is.
big dude. Go
My
ahead, Sean.
son's buddy, my son's buddies are debating on Jeremiah Smith. They're like, is that a guy that could go to the league straight from high school to the league?
Hmm. He's got the body for it. Yeah, I don't know if he has all of the entire package you need to be successful in the NFL right now, like all of the technical skill, but he's got the physical tools, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't think he'd come in and dominate. It would take a little bit, but um, if you're a if you're a professional franchise, I mean, I'd take that kid. He
Right.
looks like he's gonna be good. If you could draft kids like that young, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's not basketball, so unfortunately, that's not going to happen. But um, yeah, receivers didn't get a lot of action other than the walk-ons. A great one-handed catch by Emeka along the sidelines there. That was awesome. Um, but the secondary was in such great coverage all day. Again, with the 4 picks, they had 6 PBUs. So the only way you're going to catch something is one-handed as you're falling out of bounds against those corners, man. IGB locked up Carnell Tate and Jeremiah on some touchdown passes, potential touchdown passes. So um, the secondary really, once again, might be the best in the country. They were number
Uh,
one against the pass last year. Go
I
ahead.
mean, I'll be surprised if they're not. I mean, and all
Mhm.
those guys making plays, those are all the backups. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not only really good. I mean, the starting five are going to be insane. Um, but there's 2 or 3 guys behind them that are studs.
right. Yeah. You had interceptions by Jalen McLean, true freshman safety, Inky Jones, walk on, Calvin Simpson Hunt, true second year. He's a redshirt freshman corner, and Deontay Griffin, grandson of Archie Griffin, if you've ever heard of him, uh, to finish the game off. Yeah, a lot of it were bad throws, I would say. Maybe the wind played a factor. I heard, you know, a couple of people talk about it. I don't know if that was always the problem. Um, so yeah, just a great defensive effort. The sacks, all these D linemen, Jason Moore, second year guy, Hero Canoe, Caden Curry. They had sacks on back-to-back plays. Jack Sawyer, Mitchell Melton, even Edric Houston, true freshman, got into the act. So again, we talked about this O line needs to get shit together, but look at who they're going against, man. This is not a high school team, you know.
There's certainly some dudes there.
Yeah.
It gives me a little bit of hope that we've got some depth. I think our starters and the depth on the ends is good, but I've always been concerned about the depth up the middle.
Yeah. So yeah, this defense is gonna be this could be the best defense in the country, no doubt about it, against everything. Run, pass, doesn't matter. Today was not an indication of how they're going to play all year, but this is it's going to be a good freaking defense, man. And I don't know how to put it, but linebackers, you had saw a lot of Sonny Styles there. He even played into the second half at linebacker. I believe CJ Hicks led everybody with 6 tackles, and that was just in the first half. I think he only played in the first half. So yeah, defense really showed up, and not a great surprise there, I would say. We didn't really learn much about the rotation there or depth at the will linebacker position, you know. So we'll see what happens there. Anything on the defense you want to cover? I mean,
no, I think it looks good. I think it's deep. I'm happy with the way it's trending. I think a lot of guys are going to get. I think a lot of guys are going to get a play in the first couple games. And I think some of those battles and some of those, especially on the D line, I think that's where guys fit in. Okay, hey, am I that next guy in the rotation? If it's whatever, and hopefully some guys start to separate.
Yeah, the starting defense was pretty much intact. That we're going to see week 1 in the fall. I mean, Jack and JT at the ends, Ty Hamilton. They did have Hero Canoe start in the place of Ty Leak. CJ Hicks at the will, Cody at the mic, of course. Denzel and IGB at the corners outside. Hancock at the slot. Caleb Downs at the deep safety for sure. Jaden Bonsu got the start in place of Lathan Ransom, still healing up. So Bonsu's a hitter. I like Bonsu. Those freshmen and second year safeties are all impressing me right now. Guys that didn't play due to injury were you probably saw Brandon Ennis on the little scooter with the boot on. Yeah, that sucked. I really was looking forward to seeing him in the slot.
What's his injury? Do we know?
Ryan Day just said a minor procedure, so he'll be back for summer workouts and fall camp for sure. Same for Lorenzo Styles Jr. He had a shoulder, cleaned up a little bit, so nothing major there. Other injuries. Reese Stocksdale, the receiver, Miles Walker, the second-year tackle, Peyton Pierce, the true freshman middle linebacker. That's a lingering injury that he's still healing from his senior year in high school.
You guys saw Gee Scott over on the bike at one point.
Yeah, we can't afford to lose tight ends, man. Court Williams, he tore his ACL back in August of last year, so obviously they're healing him up. Bryce West, true freshman corner, he's fine. They're just holding him out precautionary. He was all suited up for the game, but Malik Hartford, second year safety, he had a minor cleanup over the I guess you call it spring, late winter. Jihad Carter, not sure what's going on with Jihad Carter. We haven't seen this guy at all. The transfer out of Syracuse. So, and Lathan Ransom, of course, we talked about is still healing up. He should be ready for fall camp. I think all these guys should be ready for a fall camp. I don't think there's any long-term injuries.
Well, the depth's there. Even if so, the dudes are there.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get into the quarterbacks then. Let's talk quarterbacks, and we'll get to the chat here in a minute. So let's talk about who's a starter. If you had to name a starter right now today, who would you go with?
Devin Brown.
Okay.
Number 33.
Yeah, I know something. What's your case behind that?
That he's been in the program. I think he's got a lot of fight in him. I think he was in this race, but was hurt last year and never kind of got caught up to McCord, which was a shame. And frankly, on the few opportunities that he did get, he didn't impress much. But again, some bad O-line play, but I think he's more the guy. He's been in there. He's been with these guys for 3 years, and I just didn't see that many things that looked great on Howard. So to me, it's a toss-up at this point. But I'm going with Devin Brown, much like I did last year at this time. I thought he's probably a little behind, which I probably think he still is, but I'm going with Brown.
Okay.
He didn't play in this game last year, did he? He was hurt during this game.
Right. He had the finger. No, he didn't get the finger. He broke a finger. That sounded weird. Yeah, it's really hard. Neither has, made this an easy decision. You can't say one has played better than the other to this point. I mean, and we've gotten limited action, really. I mean, they both got 2 drives on Saturday, but Will Howard's 2 drives came with mostly the ones. Brown got in there. He had 1 drive with the starters, with the ones, and then 1 with a mix of younger players and walk-ons and shit. Therefore, the touchdown pass to Schramm. He did have the only touchdown pass. So there's that. The only touchdown pass for the game out of all the quarterbacks, actually. Yeah.
I thought someone else threw one.
No. Keenholz threw a bunch of picks.
On his way out the door.
Yeah, we had running backs get 3 touchdowns. I know that. TC, Peoples, and SWD all got 3, or all got 1 each. So 3 there. Yeah. Now, there's 2 different questions here. I don't really care who starts because I don't think you can lose. I think it was Stephen Cherry asked us, was it last week, if Devin Brown could lead us to a championship? And I think we all across the board said yes, right? I'm pretty sure. because we have kind of come to the conclusion that the quarterback does not have to be great. This doesn't have to be Justin Fields. The quarterback
I
has to
mean,
be good,
I think
right?
I think this is a different team that you can get away with a good quarterback, not a
Yeah.
great quarterback. I mean, but if you look at who was in the playoffs last year, it's usually the great quarterbacks
Mhm.
that get in there, and they're basically all going to be drafted next weekend, I think it is, or 2 weekends, whatever. Um, yeah, I think Ohio State can get by with good quarterback play. I think the if the O line, I mean that's the only thing. If the O line doesn't hold up, then you will need an absolute stud at quarterback. It can be done either way. I mean, if the O line's trash, then we are going to need an elite quarterback, and I don't know if we have one. At least one that's ready.
Yeah, and going back to your point of, you know, teams that have made it to the playoffs, you can't have a trash O line and expect to go anywhere. You know,
Exactly. I mean, the only way that happens is if you have an elite quarterback that can get out of trouble and super mobile and, you know,
right?
can kind of do everything.
Yeah. I don't think we have a trash O line, but I do think we're going to rely on the running game more, both from the quarterback and the running backs. So this may be more of a 50-50 kind of true split, throwing the ball versus running the ball. Um, but I think from what I'm seeing, I'm not going by what the coaches are saying because they're not going to tell you the truth right now. Um, I think Will Howard's going to be the starter. He's got the experience. Um, he does show his ability to move away from pressure inside the pocket and then complete a pass downfield. Devin still has those happy feet, kind of jittery almost happy feet, and then he'll leave the pocket like almost, I would call it early before things really develop at times. He doesn't do it all the time. He did it a couple times on Saturday, but I think he's too quick to take off with the ball. Now, when he does take off, good things typically happen. So that's a good thing too. But you still got to go through your progressions as a passer. Otherwise, you're just Caleb Williams back there. So I think it's going to be Will Howard. I don't really care because I think they both can get the job done, like I said before. But I think it's going to be Howard. And that doesn't mean that somebody has to transfer out, though. That's the thing I want to keep coming back to every show and reiterating that I think it's okay to have 5 quarterbacks in your room come fall. It's not the end of the world. I don't see what the big deal is. A lot of people think it's like sacrilegious to have 5 quarterbacks. Well, it might just happen. So you
Well, I
might
mean,
want
we
to.
don't. I mean, I don't even consider it that. The two of them are true freshmen. They almost don't even count.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You
That's what
know,
we
so
talked
you
about
basically
last week.
got three. You basically got three in your quarterback room.
Right. And
And
I think Keenholz showed that he's not ready yet. I was not impressed. He looked slightly better than he did in the Missouri
I
game.
thought he was going to leave too.
Yeah, to Iowa. I know. Yeah, some Iowa fans started that and it kind of caught fire. No, I don't think Keenholz is going anywhere. He'd be crazy too. He's not going to start anywhere that matters, anyways.
No,
Uh,
but I mean, agreed. And I'd say, yeah, stay with it. But if there's a spot that you're thinking of going, you've got through spring now. I don't know, get in the system for a year. And if, yeah, you're not going to be a starter, but looking at it right now, is Keenholz ever going to be a starter at Ohio State?
yeah, I can't say that.
So
Next year is going to be a three-way battle or four-way battle, possibly, with Devin, Lincoln, Air, and Julian. Right? That's if nobody leaves. Even if one person leaves, it's still a three-way battle.
well, that's going to be. I mean, you're going to have if we go as far as we think we can this year, and Devin Brown, you know, wins a natty or goes, loses in the championship, whatever, goes deep, has a really good season.
Yeah.
And how's he not coming into next year being the guy?
If it is Devin, yeah, then he's the presumptive starter. But if it's Will Howard, then Devin has to decide, am I going to stick around? He does have 2 more years of eligibility after this year. So that's
Yeah,
not
but
an
if he
issue.
doesn't, if he weren't to get it next year, it's over. You're not getting it.
Why couldn't he come back in 2025 and be the starter?
That's what I'm saying. If he doesn't get it this year, he's still got 2 years left, you said, right? After this.
Right. Yep.
So if he doesn't get it in 2025, because Sayin or Nolan or somebody does,
Oh,
he
yeah.
definitely bounce. He ain't
Oh,
gonna.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. In spring of 2025, a year from now, if he's not, I mean, it's kind of the Joe Burrow scenario, right?
Yeah.
If he's not guaranteed the job or whatever, then yeah, he has to go for himself. And then it's going to be Air, Julian. You got Tavian St. Clair coming in. He's a 2025 guy. He's probably not going to start as a true freshman, but anyway. And Lincoln, of course.
But that St. Clair looks like a stud too.
He's he's a good one. So what we didn't get to see Saturday that I would have liked to have seen is Howard's ability in the run game, in the zone read. They ran some RPOs and stuff like that, but I would have liked to, I mean, I know you can't because he can't be tackled, but you don't get an idea of how he can be effective in the run game if you can't tackle him, right? I mean, you're just going to let him run, put his head down and run as far as he wants. It's not really practical in a spring game, but that's one thing that Howard's size and his experience, I think, he brings to the table that we aren't going to be able to see till it's game time,
Yeah, but the guy's lost a bunch of games too. And is that
Mm-hmm.
is that in his head? It's like, okay,
Yeah.
it isn't the end of the world to lose games. Yeah, it is here, dude. So
Right.
has that been put in your brain like it is
Yeah.
at Ohio State?
Right. I think I would hope
If you lose
he's
that many
smart
games at
enough.
Ohio State as a starter, you're bounced. You'll never have a chance to lose that many games. You would already be
No,
done.
no, yeah, definitely. Hey, folks, as you're coming in, please hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that. We're going to run through the chat. It seems like me and Shawn have our starting quarterbacks picked out. And it's not a favoritism kind of thing for me. I think the experience Will Howard brings to the table is his ability in the run game, the versatility he has makes him the presumed starter. But I still will stick to my guns, like I said last week, that Devin Brown can get us to a national championship as well.
Do you think
I'd say flip a coin.
Mediocre starter out of the Big 12 is better than the third-year guy that Ohio State recruited?
I don't think either one of them is better, Shawn. No, I don't. I think I have not seen anything. And again, we haven't been in 15 practices of the spring. I haven't seen anything to say, oh, that guy's better than that guy, in either direction. So no, I cannot definitively say that guy is the guy. He's going to get us to a national championship. But I think they both could do it. I think they both have the ability. It's going to take a little time, and honestly, we're not going to know shit until week 6 when the Buckeyes go to Eugene and play the Ducks, because we're not going to find out shit in the first 5 weeks. You can get by in Iowa easily with either quarterback. Same for the old line. I would say the same against
before then. You will tell before then, because it's not just about getting by. It's against these teams with this talent around you. You need to look sharp. If you're just winning the games, hey, we're 5-0, but it's not great. I'm going to have some reservations at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, but we've seen Ohio State, roll their helmets out for a noon game against Akron and go ho-hum through the first half. Oh, we're up 2 touchdowns. Let's just put her in neutral,
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll give them one of those, maybe even 1.5 of those games that are you win by 3 scores and you come out pissed off because man, we played like shit in that game. It should have been, or one of those games that's within a score, heaven forbid. But there has to be some of the, hey, this is what this guy can do. We're working on it. We're getting it there, but this is what he's capable of. Again, with that talent, there's no reason why you shouldn't see that. They start coming up with Heisman front runners based on these garbage games in the beginning, because that's where guys pad their stats.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, there's really no real depth chart is being drawn out right now. That's for fall camp. Guys can get a somewhat of an idea of where they stand in their position group, right? Like, am I second? Am I third? Am I fifth? And then you can make your transfer decision.
I think they all kind of know in their position groups.
Right.
Sure.
Exactly. Yeah. And then they're going to have their meetings with their coaches today, tomorrow, and probably Tuesday. Maybe they might. They'll bleed it into throughout the week, but the portal does open Tuesday officially. So they're going to have those meetings with their position coach and decide accordingly, what they want to do. Yeah. Let's start going through the chat here. I think that the locker room, the team is always going to know the truth. They're going to know who's better, who should be the starting quarterback. That's one of those old sayings, that you can't fool the locker room, whether you're a coach or whatever. But I think it's going to be obvious eventually. But let's get to the chat. Odysseus was the first man in. He says OH with a bunch of nuts.
Ayo.
Tyrone says, sup everyone, go Bucks, Tyrone. Billy says, hi Joe, Odysseus, Tyrone, hello Billy. Odysseus says, I thought Howard and Brown were pretty even. Same here. Billy says, I did too. Odysseus says, Air reminded me of Terrell Pryor. Is that good or bad? I should remind everybody I was never a big Terrell Pryor fan. He looked like he was shot putting the ball. I don't know if anybody ever actually caught him on a throw. Not a great release. Let's just say that.
He was like one of the first of many, I think, that we started getting that athlete, half receiver, half quarterback type guy
dual
back
threat.
there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's one of the original dual threats, but he did Air and Terrell Pryor did have some nice runs. Way to use their feet. I was impressed with air. I hadn't seen a lot of that, so it was good to see him do that in an actual game. Well, not an actual game, on a
Actual
college campus.
football.
Yeah, against defenders and everything. So Tyler says this defense is going to be so dominant this year. I agree 100%. It's hard to believe it, but they could be better than last year. No bullshit. Billy says, I'm not ready to write off air yet in competition with Sayin. In competition for what would be my question.
What are you
'Cause I don't
talking
think
about?
for backup.
No, I think he's talking about next year.
Oh,
Like who's going to be the guy? I mean, I think Buckeye Nation, this Buckeye fan, I think that Nolan or Sayin are going to be the next big time quarterback at Ohio State. And I think right now everybody's leaning towards Sayin, and I think what he's saying is he's not writing off Air Nolan quite yet.
Yeah,
I
I think
that right.
Yeah,
And I
I see
agree.
that. Sayin's gotten a lot of run lately, and Ryan Day hasn't really taken the opportunity to quiet that attention. And Sayin looks good. I mean, he's still threw a pick, made. He has a great release. I love his ability to get the ball out quickly. Looks like he might be one of the most accurate of the five.
6'1", I don't love that.
No, that's what I was just going to. He needs to be able to see over the lineman. That'd be nice. So maybe we can get some lifts in his cleats or something. But yeah, he didn't really. Did he show off his mobility much? I think he did pull it down once or twice. I don't remember what happened on those plays, but I'm sure he can get around just fine. You better be at that size. So yeah,
He
I
got sacked at
agree.
least once, maybe twice.
Yeah, I do agree that him and Air are going to be an interesting competition if they get to next year on the same team. So that will be interesting. Odysseus says best secondary in the country was on display yesterday. I agree. That's why they call them BIA. They are. It's kind of disgusting. They take IGB, Denzel Burke, Lathan Ransom. I mean, you got two NFL corners there. I believe IGB will be a first round draft pick next year. Jordan Hancock.
I think Hancock is a high round pick.
Yeah, for
And
sure. Yeah.
I'd heard some comments that I think it was Day made or somebody made that, kind of what we said a week or two ago about this is if a cornerback goes down, Hancock can move to those and someone else, Matthews or someone would come and play the
slot. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hancock can play outside. Matthews can play outside. Matthews has been training at the slot this spring. But both those guys can play either position, and I don't feel that's a weakness if one of them has to move. So yeah, this secondary is for real. And then you bring in Caleb Downs, by the way. Oh, just a little throw in. Lathan Ransom there at the safety. This secondary is legit. I don't know if you can put together a better secondary. Back to the chat here. Odysseus says secondary has the potential to be the best ever. Yeah. I think we're all on board with that.
Agreed. I mean, and that's saying something.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen some lockdown secondaries, even just in Columbus. I mean, go back to the 02 national championship team.
We've had a lot of
Doss.
good secondaries. I mean, once in a while there might be one weak spot in there, but I mean,
Right.
the Silver Bullets, we had some really good secondaries.
Yeah. Right. You don't have to go back too far to Malik Hooker, Lattimore, Denzel Ward, all those guys.
Von Bell.
Sure. Um, yeah, so I agree with Odysseus. Could be the best secondary ever. Tyler says the running backs look fantastic. All right. Um, yeah, yeah. It was interesting. Their best runs were in between the tackles, not to the
Yeah,
outside. You notice that?
that's a little Chip Kelly uh, vibe I like.
Right. So yeah, Peoples keeps his legs churning. He's one of those guys. He always falls forward. You're not going to get him caught behind the line of scrimmage for a big
There
loss.
was a couple, you see these inflated yards per carry a little bit, but some of it
Mhm.
is kind of bullshit because they're not full tackling to the ground.
Mhm.
It's like, you gave him a few too many yards there. That dude would have killed him.
Yeah. Billy says IGB looked awesome. Yeah, he locked down Tate and Jeremiah Smith. I was impressed with IGB and his coverage. Quarterback probably on those corner routes in the end zone could have helped out the receiver a bit by putting more loft under the ball, not throwing it on like a line. But yeah, DB is there. Matthews made a play on Jeremiah Smith too. Great coverage. Tyrone says Will Howard will be the starter. You don't pay QBs to come in and sit on the bench. Well, the beauty is the athletic department does not pay these guys. That comes from the collectives. So, but I do get your thought. I understand what you're getting at. That yes, if Will Howard supposedly got $1 million or thereabout to come to Ohio State, whether he did or not, or if it's even close to that, yes, I understand that a collective is not going to be happy if the guy doesn't play.
Well, I mean, it comes down to this basically, and that's I don't think that's the rule, but it is the unwritten rule
Yeah.
because the coach is basically saying, yeah, I want this guy, and the collectives
Mhm.
are saying, hey, come here, we'll give you $1 million, and that guy in his mind, the player, he's like, oh, I'm going to go to a place and I've got a legit shot to start. Ohio State's actually out there looking for another guy to add to the room, which means they think someone can come in and start. And yeah, but it's not because that he got that money and came here. I still think he's got to earn it. And I think if he's the quarterback on day one, he'll be the guy that Day feels gives him the best shot.
Mhm. Yeah. How does it? I do wonder. I try and play this conversation in my head. How does the conversation between Day and let's say Brian Schottenstein of the the collective, how does that conversation go? Like, is it a text message? Brian Day texts Schottenstein and says, "Hey, we really need this guy," and then the reply is, "How bad do you need him, coach?"
Well, they
He's like,
probably know better than coach. They're probably more tied into what guys are worth out there on the market and all
"Hmm,
that stuff. That's the world that they're living in. But I
right.
think it's got to be something like that because it can't be, hey, there's this stud whatever position player out there, and
Mhm.
let's go give him $2 million. And it turns out
Right.
your head coach hates the kid. Recruited him. Is like this
Right.
kid ain't for our program.
That has to be a scenario that it has happened across the country, right? Like
Well,
a
no, because I think
collect.
I think I think the coaches have to be going talking to these collectives like, nah, I mean, not. We don't spend your money somewhere else. We don't want that guy.
No, well, like what about the Jaden Rashada situation in Florida, right? He showed up. The checks weren't cashing. The money's not in the account. It's like, hey, man, you guys said you wanted this guy. Which is it? Yes or no? I mean, the guy's on campus, enrolled. I mean, come on. And they're like, the coach is like, oh, I didn't approve this. Send him back. Return to sender.
Was
But
that basically the scenario that played out? The coach never
yeah, yeah.
wanted him.
Now he's at Arizona State.
Getting paid.
Yeah. Crazy. Tyler says, I think Will Howard's problem is that he hasn't played with the talent of this caliber his whole career until now on a stage like this is massive. Yeah, I agree. I think it definitely makes you look much better as a quarterback if you're surrounded by five-star receivers. If we can piece together a solid old line, five-star running backs, I think it definitely makes you look much better if you can deliver the
But
ball.
the pressure of being the quarterback at Ohio State is a different animal than this guy's ever been around, been used to. Um, and that's the one thing to me that gives Devin Brown an edge is that he's been in it, he sees it, he's seen, what these
Yeah,
guys have done and had to do and what it means and this criticism that they'll take and the expectations.
right. Billy says that he doesn't think NIL will enter into the equation. He says, I think Day will put out whoever he thinks is best.
Agreed. And I think even the $1 million for Day, it's worth it to have a backup. Look, I need another guy.
Well, he
So
could leave.
even
Will Howard could leave
because he's
right this week.
yeah. I don't think he's
So,
gonna because I think he thinks he's probably got the spot.
right. That's exactly my point. Yeah. That's why I think he is the starter. But Billy also says, considering we do have a great D line, the O line did okay. Yeah, they had their moments. They're still trying to solidify that right guard spot. I'm concerned about right tackle personally, and I think McLaughlin has to be the center. They didn't have any issues snapping the ball, so I'm not concerned about that. Yeah, the O line did better than last spring. We can all say that, right? Odysseus says, I feel the O-line looked better this spring game compared to last year. It's like I just read it. And they have 5 months to get better for the road game versus Oregon. Yeah. Yeah, we need to see it. We need to see it as early as possible. Got Iowa coming up before them. Or is it Michigan State? Yeah, I think you got Michigan State and Iowa prior to the Oregon game. So those will be not super testy games, but you'll kind of have an idea of what you have up front. Tyler says, what I think will help is the quarterback run. Yeah. And that's what I mentioned earlier. We didn't get a chance to see from Will Howard. We did see Devin pull the ball down and the middle of the field kind of parted like the Red Sea, and he took off and scampered up the middle. But yeah, we didn't get to see a lot of that out of Will Howard, and I think that is the one piece of the equation, like the wild card that you can't equate for, till you see it in game. And of course, the numbers. It's a numbers game. The offense always has the advantage if the quarterback is running the ball. But they're not going to line up and run JT Barrett, QB power up the gut every time either. They're not running that. Chip Kelly actually said, or maybe it's Ryan Day. One of them the other day actually said those words. They said, we're not going to go line up and run QB power every snap. Odysseus said, Billy says, if they're a liability to the team, it falls on Fry. The talent is there. Okay. Yeah.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah. Development is key, obviously. I think Fry has helped develop these guys. Let's see who he actually rolls out there at that guard spot and if Fryer looks better. Fryer was an Iron Buckeye this offseason, so that's a big deal. He's made huge strides to change his body. Let's see him be more athletic out there and be that dancing bear we need out on the right side. Odysseus says run blocking was good. Then he says right side needs to improve on pass pro for sure. Yeah, no doubt. Tyler says because I think this O line is great in run blocking. Okay. Yeah, that he's tagging onto. He mentioned the quarterback run will help because of the run blocking. Yeah, I think if most O lines are good at run blocking, that's probably always your strength in most cases, anyways. So you're right. I think the run blocking will help give this O line some confidence, and then you tack on the QB run. Not just the running backs. That adds a lot. Billy says Peoples is going to be a stud. I agree. Odysseus says Peoples reminds me of JK. Okay. Shawn, you have a guy that reminds you of James Peoples? Eh? Hmm?
Oh, who does he remind you of?
I was trying to go outside of the Texas running backs, but um guy that always falls forward, keeps his legs moving. I don't know. He doesn't have, I don't think he has the shake like that jump cut of a JK. He's got some wiggle for sure.
Carlos Hyde, falling forward.
Maybe, yeah, he's not quite as big, but yeah, maybe a Hyde would be good. Um, Boom Heron, Boom Heron always falling forward, kind of more of a battering ram with a little wiggle to him, something like that. Maybe I'm trying to think of more recent guys. Uh, yeah,
It's going to be
I
fun to
think,
watch these running backs.
yeah,
That's for sure. And Chip Kelly offense. And if that's our strength and our defense is like this, look, Michigan just won a national championship
yeah,
running the football and playing good defense.
right. Hmm. Right. And this is not going to be that. This offense is not going to just turn around and hand it off every down. I think there's going to be a lot more creativity to it. And we're still going to throw the ball. I mean, if you stop throwing the ball, you will see
Kids
one
stop coming.
Jeremiah Smith in the fucking portal tomorrow. Yeah, exactly.
Agreed. Yeah, you can't not do it anymore and then
Yeah,
expect to get the best kids.
right. Yeah, look at how many five-star receivers Michigan's pulling in. Zero. I think DPJ might have been the last one, right? And that's just because his parents went there.
He may have been the last one.
Has to be. Odysseus says, love the fire from Coach Locke. Night and day from Benedict Alford. Yes, I like Coach Locke. Dude's got some serious traps, man. He's my idol. Do you even lift, bro? Um, Billy says Lynch Adams ran for 1,200 yards last year with 5 yards per carry. Yeah, I know. But from what I'm hearing, I don't know if he's actually a take, regardless of that crystal ball. Odysseus says some of JJ lack of productivity were the underthrows. That's got to improve at QB. Yes, you're right. A couple of those balls to Jeremiah were underthrown. The deep one along the right side, and the end zone passes were needed more loft where he could use his height and his jumping ability, right? To go up and get
Exactly.
that ball. Like Randy Moss, you don't need to throw a line drive at his face. You fucking throw it up.
Yeah, that's the only way to defend it is if the ball, you throw it up there and let him go get it. Don't make him try and come back over his
Exactly.
back.
Yep.
I mean, I know those catches always make the Sports Center top 10, but they're not high probability, man. That's why they make top 10.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, again, to the point, that is on the quarterback, Odysseus. You are 100% correct. Don Warwick's in. He said, "Hi, Joe. Hey, Dad. How you doing? How was your birthday?" Uh, Billy says, "Hopefully, one will separate in fall camp." I think they kind of have to. Yeah. I don't think. Yeah, you got to make a. We can't take this into week 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. The QB competition. We can't take that into the season. I hope that Ryan Day learned his lesson. This will be his 4th QB competition at Ohio State. So that's out of 6 years. So 4 in 6 years, you would think by now he's learned his lessons.
I think each year plays itself, man. You just
Sure.
gotta.
But I
Every
think
year's
you have to
different.
learn from your mistakes from the previous years, like last year. You picked the wrong guy,
Yeah, he did.
So
But last year, I don't know if there was a right guy. That was a quandary of last year.
yeah, yeah. It was a gamble either direction. I get it. Billy says, hopefully one will separate fall camp. Yes. Then he says, Keenholz definitely could be a starter for Iowa. LOL. Yes. Good one, Billy. Odysseus says, I think Howard escapes and runs for the first down on that first sack. I'd have to go back and pull up the game, but I believe you. Again, yeah, when a defender is just able to tap you on the shoulder and that's considered down, there's no way you can see Will Howard's escapability in that scenario, right? So, yeah, that's just one example of areas where he would make a difference, especially at his size, 6'5", 240. Yeah, it's going to take more than just a little tap on the shoulder to bring him down. Tyler says, well, what will help guys? We are going to limit opposing teams to less than 10 points a game with this defense. Yes, that is very true. Yeah, we are going to limit teams to less than 10 points a game, I think.
Yeah, on the season average.
Yeah.
I'd be really disappointed if not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to check and see what we did last year as a team scoring.
I'm thinking like 14th, probably.
Points per game, 11.6, second in the country. The Cheaters were 10.4. Penn State was third at 14 even. Iowa, the noted defensive juggernaut, 14.8. So right there, you got your top 4 teams are all Big Ten. Georgia at 7, Notre Dame 9, Oregon 10, Nebraska at 11, another Big Ten team. Jesus. But yeah, yes, we are definitely going to keep teams at 10 points or less. Odysseus says, I think it depends on the coach. Napier is in over his head. Yeah, it depends on the coach for what. I'm not sure, but Florida is fucked. They are screwed and tattooed. Have you guys seen the schedule? Holy crap.
Yeah, that's the nastiest schedule I've ever seen. I can't wait. I mean, that's what it's going to be when the consolidation, when it's just
Yeah.
Big Ten and SEC powerhouses.
Right. Yeah.
All the schedules are going to look like that.
You got Miami week 1. That could go either direction. It's a coin flip. They got A&M week 3. UCF is no pushover anymore. That's week 5. Tennessee at Tennessee week 6. Kentucky's not a gimme. Then you got to go to Georgia, then to Texas. LSU comes to town to beat you in your own house. Ole Miss comes to town and beat you back-to-back weeks. Florida State, you got to go to them to finish up the season. You'll probably lose there too.
Yeah, that's
Napier's
tough schedule.
screwed. That dude is fucked. Too bad, because I hear he's a good coach. I don't know why he took this job. Did he not look ahead at the schedule? It's the first thing I would have done. What's our next three years schedule look like?
Yeah, but boosters know that too. They're looking at that. They're saying, "Oh,
All right, yeah, right. Let's
low
see.
expectations."
Yeah, let's wind it down here before we get out the door. We got a couple more good ones. Odysseus says in terms of collective coach relations. That was following up on the Napier message. Yeah. I don't even know who's on his staff. It might be a problem there too. Um, Tyler has a good one. Joe, do you know the recruiting rankings right now for the team in Ann Arbor? They are ranked 50, currently just updated today. Let's look at this. You are correct, Tyler. I'm looking at it right now. They are right behind Louisville. They have 3 4-stars. That's a nice little average of 90.76. That's not terrible. It's actually better
Those
than
are
everybody in front of them.
in front of them, but still, I mean, not great. If we end up at 90, that's not a great class typically.
No, not for us. No, I'm saying for Michigan it is. But
And
what's the deal? Have you?
a lot of times I feel like our class, the average starts out really high because we land a couple of these big time kids, and then the
Sure.
ball gets
Yeah.
rolling, and your average is up there 95, whatever. And then
Yeah.
by the end you get down to 93.
Yeah. Because you
If
got to add
Michigan's
on
starting
punters.
now at 90,
Yeah. There's nowhere to go but down.
end up at 88, 87. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not talented enough. And maybe they get some big time kids coming in. I don't know, but
I've been seeing a lot of stories about are they their beat writers are saying that they're not accepting commits right now. Is that true? I've seen that in multiple outlets.
really, I've not
Yeah.
heard anything about that.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Sounds like a
real.
Michigan beat writer.
Not that they're plugged into the program at
No,
all. I mean,
we're not going to accept any until all the 5-star kids are gone.
yeah. We're holding out for the 3s and the 2s. Yeah, I saw that.
We're waiting on everybody because they probably got a bunch of kids that want to go there, and they're not the kids that they want. They're their fallback kids, and they're waiting to see where all these other kids commit. I mean, I'm sure there's some of that. 'Cause you like, hey, I really like this kid. If so and so doesn't come through, he's someone we should look at. So you don't want to take that kid's offer right now, or take his commitment right now. But I guarantee if it's a 4-star, they'll take it. No, that must be on smaller rated players, lower rated players.
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I've just seen it as the people question, where's all your commits? Michigan, and the retort is they're not accepting. It's like they're applying for a job or something. No, we're not hiring. But yeah, I was gonna say the last commit they got was, it's been a long time. Yeah, January 4th. A 3-star tight end from Tennessee. Yeah, all their commits are 3-stars actually.
Yeah, I saw it. Depends on what you do there. So they haven't
Yeah,
won. They haven't gotten any commits since they won the national championship.
exactly. That is exactly right. The other 2 came in the fall during the season. What a mess. Let's see. Mika says Michigan fans were making fun of OSU yesterday, saying it's a flag football team. Go ahead. Uh, it's called a spring game. Uh, we, they did do tackling with the second team, not the starters, of course. And the last dancing football player video I saw was a bunch of Michigan guys. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Maybe their fans missed that. But yeah. Waiting for that hammer to fall. Odysseus says NCAA. There you go. Why are you guys using my words? NCAA hammer hanging over the cheaters' heads is plummeting their class ranking, and I'm loving it. Exactly. It's just a matter of time. And Odysseus says their beat is always wrong. Yes. Most fraudulent national champion ever. Ooh, yeah. I agree with that. Yes. This recruiting class is not looking good for 2025. Let's see if they survive the portal season here over the next 2 weeks. We've heard a lot of rumors of heard about the D tackles moving. Will Johnson said he came back just for the NIL. So that has to make you feel good. Who else? Offense is a train wreck. Nothing much left there. So, yeah. Anyway, anything else before we get out the door? Might go ahead and shut her down here. Henry, anything to send the
No,
folks home with?
no, just that the other Michigan team up here, Michigan State, right now,
Hmm?
zero commits. As
Oh,
of a couple of
see,
days ago.
that's not so bad. Are they
But yeah,
accepting
I
commits?
don't know. I don't know what these teams are waiting for or thinking they're gonna get.
Mhm. And that's the thing. Michigan usually puts out like 300 offers every class. They don't even, I don't even know if they've watched film on some of these guys that they offer.
If they're like top 10 in the position group, yeah, I think they just get a letter.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. It might not be committable. Who knows? Whatever. Who's counting? So, yeah. Yeah, Tyler says, I don't think they are not going to survive. Yeah, I
But I,
agree.
but
They're not.
the only thing I'll say about the spring game, I guess to leave it is
Mhm.
I didn't learn a whole lot. You know, it's a fun thing to see some guys out there running around doing some stuff, but I don't think anybody learned a whole ton out there in that spring game.
Right.
That's just for the fans to enjoy.
Yeah,
The coaches are in there every day.
exactly.
But what is there any timeline? That's the NCAA. I'm kind of doubting it for Michigan, and if for something happens to them or not, or any idea?
Oh, you're saying if they get assessed penalties,
Yeah,
can people transfer out? Yeah. Usually the NCAA will like grant a waiver. Like remember Penn State when they were going through that Sandusky crap.
yeah,
They gave the entire team like a waiver. You had like time you could go transfer, and some Big Ten coaches were on campus there, like just actively recruiting right on
right.
Penn State's campus and shit. So yeah, I'm sure uh, that has to go along with the notice of allegations and the penalties whenever they do decide to dish those out. Which
But
who
that's it.
knows?
When are they going to ever? It's the NCAA.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. They did have the notice of allegations back in December was sent to Michigan.
What was
Um,
that one on? 'Cause they got like two or three different things.
this was the level one allegations for misleading investigators. That was against mostly Jim Harbaugh,
That was the
uh,
hamburger incident, cheeseburgers, whatever.
basically, and then lying about it. Yeah, or not telling the truth. That was December 20th. That notice came out, but the Connor Stallion stuff is completely separate.
Yeah,
That
has that
one,
notice of allegations even been sent?
I don't think so. No, no, I'm not seeing anything about that.
That's why the NCAA is irrelevant.
Yeah, yeah. All they have to do, Michigan can easily outlast the NCAA and wait until it crumbles. You know, tie this thing up in court, whatever you have to do to let this thing
Basically,
drag
almost
out.
all parties involved have left the building, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, nothing on that. Shocker. All right, folks. Well, we appreciate everybody joining us on a lively Sunday night show following up the spring game. I, I think we should probably do a show next Sunday night, but over May and June, we're going to take quite a bit of time off. I'll try and let you guys know in advance. There's just not going to be much going on, but over this portal season, there's going to be dudes coming and going that I think we need to talk about. And hopefully Jeff can get his internet turned on at his house so he can join the show. But anyway, um, me and Shawn are the lucky ones. We have working internet in our homes. So, hey, first world problems. Anyway, Henry, appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, you don't actually need internet service as long as you got cell service.
I know.
Uh,
I didn't want to say it. He's not listening anyways,
I mean, we get on in our cars all the time.
right? I know.
Anywho, go
Yep,
Buckeyes.
that's right. Go Bucks. All right. Appreciate everybody joining us. We'll talk to you later. Don't forget to check out the Daily Blitz all week long. We got some good breakdowns, kind of stories coming out of the spring game and thoughts. So check out the BuckeyeCast.com. Everything's on sale there. And the video vault is always open. Henry, talk to you later.
Or
Go Bucks.